Hey, how are you, everybody? Merry Christmas. This is Freddie Ewan, two-time GM of the Year, current Pantheon Cup champion for one more week, 2023 regular season champion. Merry Christmas once again, everybody. Exciting week. Well, we thought it was going to be an exciting week in the TPFFKL. What turned out to be an exciting week really turned out to be two blowouts. The two veteran teams that have been in the playoffs for the past three seasons really get the shit kicked out of them. We'll go to the first one, FJTK over TOD. TOD really just got nothing, totally shit the bed, got nothing out of DJ Moore, nothing out of Devontae Adams, nothing out of Sutton, nothing out of their two running backs, Potter Cook. Really just this game was over from the very beginning on the other side. Total domination from FJTK. They're projected still to score 171 points. Big game from Breece Hall. Of course, you're playing the Washington defense. That's what you're going to get. 95 rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. Breece Hall had 12 receptions yesterday and 96 receiving yards. 5 more rushing yards and 4 more receiving yards. Breece Hall would have had close to 50 points. Big game by Breece Hall. Bijan Robinson does what he needs to do. Justin Jefferson has a great game, 6 receptions, 141 yards, and a touchdown. CeeDee Lamb gets the job done as well, puts up 25 points. Calvin Ridley has a great game as well. Just start to finish, FJTK, even their bench was dominant. Romeo Doubs had 16 points. Zamira White had 17.5 points. Najee Harris had 14 points. Algier had 15 points. Just, complete domination from FJTK. Great year for them. The only player who did not play well was Travis Kelce. And FJTK is going to march on to the Pantheon Cup in Las Vegas next week. They are going to be going up against the Virginia SEADOGS. Same thing with the SEADOGS. SEADOGS really just got dominance from Thursday night's game that really just let them off from the start. Puka with 31 points. Kyron Williams with 19 points. Next day on Saturday, T. Higgins has a huge game, 5 receptions, 140 receiving yards, and a touchdown for 25 points. Really just over from the start. Jimmy needed a lot of things to go right for him. Had a great week last week, but just really didn't get much from anyone. Tyreek Hill, 9 receptions, 99 yards, 14 points, actually underscored. Sam Laporta really didn't do anything, shit the bed. Gibbs had a good game. ATM was awful. Addison was awful. Godwin was there. What do you need? Jalen Waddle was awful. Jalen Hurts put up a decent game, but not good enough. Didn't drop the 40 burger that he needed. He actually needed a 60 burger, but really 2 blowouts from the 2 cap-driven teams against the 2 veteran teams. And they are going to go play in the Pantheon Cup next week. It is already confirmed that we are going to have the Pantheon Cup finalists on this week. Going to happen either tomorrow night or a couple days from now, most likely tomorrow night. TDK and TOD will play for the 3rd place game in the undercard. A couple other things just to update you on. COC is going to finish 5th over IFT. And the Gronk Donks, hosted by Kenny Loggins, will win the 11th place game over Samuel Amack. Samuel Amack didn't even have a quarterback to start. In the It Doesn't Matter bracket, the San Patricio Rock Throwers will play Donks for Life, Quatch style, and Shake and Bake, and the Red Sharks will battle it out for the 9th, 10th position. I believe this is the San Patricio's Rock Throwers' 3rd straight finals in the It Doesn't Matter bracket. So congratulations to you, Rock Throwers. But I want to get to some things really quickly about the TPFFKL. There's been talk about cap room changing and whatnot. And really just take a look at the league and what happened this year is, obviously we have 2 teams that are playing in the championship game that had a ton of cap room to begin the season, and that does certainly help. James made some very good trades at the beginning of the season before it even started. Was able to get Tony Pollard, Travis Kelce, was able to get Justin Jefferson, which I thought was a huge trade, a big, really easy win for him almost on that trade. I was scratching my head once again on the Donks for Life's former GM's trading style, but that's just me. This is the same guy who traded J.D. McKissick for Amari Cooper in another league one year, and everyone was thinking it was collusion or what the fuck was going on. And it's like, nope, that guy really thought that was a good trade. But back to the TPFFKL, you know, got to look at a couple things that happened to this year. Is, you know, Justin Herbert had a very good year. Keenan Allen had a very good year, which he both drafted. Those guys both went down. Justin Jefferson went down. Najee Harris did not have a great year. Bijan Robinson was okay. He wasn't this everything that we thought he was going to be. At a couple really bad games. James has Brock Purdy as his quarterback. Brock Purdy was picked off waivers. Traded for Breece Hall, traded for Deebo Samuel, did the right things to get here. Every team faces adversity. You know, it's like you can have a ton of cap room, but you still got to play the game. You still got to go after the waiver wire. You still got to make trades. Everything really does not come down to how much cap room you have on draft day. You know, this is a week-to-week league where you have to win. And a couple strategies, as we talked in the last show, have really boiled down to success. And there's a couple different ways you can get to success on the other side. Just talking about Brian really quickly, too, is let me just take a look. I just want to take a look at Brian's team, if you just give me 1 second as well. The Virginia SEADOGS, you know, they had a ton of cap room as well. The Virginia SEADOGS ended up taking Trevor Lawrence as a keeper. Trevor Lawrence has not had a great year. They spent a lot of money on Austin Eckler, first-round money. Austin Eckler, if we were to do this again, Austin Eckler would probably be a fourth-round pick. Mark Andrews was injured. He did trade for Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk was injured. And, you know, two big plays, bought Puka Nakau on waivers for $5. Puka has turned into a stud wide receiver who's Brian has used all year. Found him on the waiver wire. The other guy, Kyron Williams, paid a lot for Kyron Williams on the waiver wire. I think it was like $44 or something like that. Refused to trade him while he was on the injured reserve. I was trying to trade Patrick Mahomes for him. Brian did not trade for him. He wanted to keep Kyron Williams. Made the right decision. Kyron Williams has been the number 1, number 2 running back ever since he's been off the injured reserve. And you know, those are the things that the reason why they are in the Pantheon Cup. You know, it's I think when you look at things, you know, I know that I started with $111 in cap room for my draft or something. And I don't think I had a specifically great draft, but I was able to win some games, and I was able to put the right players in early to win by a couple points here and there. Of course, I got lucky. Everyone has to get lucky in fantasy football to win a league. But that being said, you know, had to spend a lot of money to continue to make a playoff run, and that we did. We were able to get into the playoffs. Same thing with Jimmy. Jimmy has had the same core players for the past 3 years. He's been very successful in the regular season, but he had to make some moves. He had to add some players on the other side. You know, there's 2 smart guys that really know their fantasy football, are really active. Rich and Bowser did not have good years. They decided to sell early and build their team up for next year. And, you know, they're probably going to be favorites next year, but that does not necessarily mean that you're going to win the league. So, you know, the one thing that, you know, and at the end of the year too, you know, there were 6 dominant teams. I don't think that has always been the case. I think there's always been like a playoff fight at the end of the year. You know, the one GM really is kind of in, kind of out, kind of in, kind of out. And that's pretty much why he finishes 7th place every year. I don't think he has quite found his strategy that's going to work for him. I hope it does. I hope to see him in the playoffs because I like him. He's still my vote for GM of the year. Smart guy, but you know, you got to go all in, and this is a different league. You got to make moves. Sometimes you have to sacrifice your season the next year, and that's all it is. There is very few opportunities to win a fantasy football league in general. It is very hard to do with 12 GMs, and there's most GMs are active in this league, but with 12 active GMs, it's very hard to win a fantasy football league year in and year out. But I think that we've seen two teams that have consistently made the playoffs using distinct different styles, and I think that you'll see some teams next year that have made the playoffs this year that will make the playoffs again, despite them having lack of cap room. I think that'll happen again. So I don't think there's anything wrong with the cap room or the trading or anything like that. I think the league is in good shape. I think it's exciting. I think this is going to be an exciting Pantheon Cup between the two. I think James and Brian are very smart fantasy football players. Whoever wins it's going to be really exciting. Going to be able to grab the throne for a year, and I'm looking forward to it. So tomorrow night, or most likely tomorrow night, we're going to have another show. We're going to have both Brian and James on. We're going to talk about fantasy football. We're going to talk about some strategy. We're going to talk about the Pantheon Cup in Vegas. There's going to be a winner next week. Someone is going to be crowned the Tpffkal champion. And just think, for an entire year, you're not going to hear me talk as much shit as I usually do. I'm not sure who I'm rooting for yet. I'll let you know tomorrow night on the show. But everyone, I hope you had a great Christmas. It was a great Christmas for me, even though I got my ass kicked in 2 out of 3 fantasy football leagues. I'm in championship game as one, but the big thing is my Philadelphia Eagles snapped a 3-game win streak. We're winners, baby. Everyone have a great evening and Merry Christmas. Love you guys. Bye-bye.